Thanks for clicking on the video. My name's Tom Alsop, and today I'm going to talk about volley mechanics, and in particular what you're doing with your arm, because we can use different parts of the arm to perform the shot and they'll all make the technique very different. So if I'm using my shoulder, it's going to look different than if I'm using my elbow or my forearm. If I'm using my hand to hit the shot, it's going to look different than if I use my fingers a little bit. So I'm going to talk about the tips that I give players that allow them to use their arm in the most effective way to hit solid volleys. So let's start by talking about the shoulder. A lot of people make the error of being too straight with their arms. And if you're too straight, especially if your arm is locked, you're going to have to use your shoulder a lot to hit the ball. And it's going to take away the feel of the hand hitting the shot. You need to use your hands because, you know, that's why people say, oh, that guy's got good hands, you know, because he's actually using his hands. He's got the feel of the racket face through the hands. No one says, oh, that guy's got a great shoulder. You know, no one has good hands out here because it's a shoulder shot. So you don't want to be too far away with a straight arm. Even on the backhand side, where people think you want to get your arm straight, you certainly don't want it straight for too long coming into contact. If it's straight and it's coming through contact, that's fine. But there's a lot of shots you're going to have to play where your arm needs to remain bent the whole time to be able to make adjustments to balls coming in your body or to feel the shot, right? So try not to have a straight arm, try not to feel like it's just a swing from the shoulder, because as I'm doing this here, the racket feels so far away, it doesn't feel connected to me, it feels heavy, and I don't feel like I can really control what my racket head is doing. The other error I see with this, I got one guy I'm working with now who just tends to use his shoulder, he keeps his arm bent, but he uses his shoulder too much. And you want to make sure that your right shoulder stays behind the left as you're hitting these balls. One of the issues with this is not only you taking the hands out of it again, you're just kind of using your shoulders. If the ball gets jammed, or if you get jammed, the ball's close to you and you turn this way, it's really hard to move your feet behind, which is obviously a key volley move. Ball's coming at you, you keep your body sideways, your feet move behind, that allows you to create space. So you need your right shoulder behind your left. If this is your move here, you're too much with the shoulder, it's going to restrict how you hit those balls that are coming in at your body. So let's talk about the elbow and the forearm. What I want to see on the forehand volley is to move the elbow in a little bit. We don't want the elbow back here. It's going to cause you the hand not to be behind the racket. All kinds of awkward things are going to happen from that point, but keep the elbow in, and you can see that my hand is slightly behind the racket. So you can see that if I'm volleying this way, my arm is at this angle and the racket is coming at this angle. It's not in a straight line here, where again that would be bringing the shoulder into it. So I want to feel like my hand is behind the racket and I can control the ball from here, right? It's not back here. So feel like your hand is behind the racket, and I'm just going to keep my elbow a little bit bent and feel like I can hit the ball with my hand, right? My hand is hitting the ball here. On the backhand side, we want to feel like we're using this elbow joint. So this is where a lot of the power is going to come from, where we bend the arm and straighten it out, but we don't want to lock it out too far. As I said, we don't want it locked on the take back. But feel like you can use the elbow joint to get the power and not really use the hand at all. Like, yeah, we're hitting the ball with the hand. I'm going to explain the hand movement in a little bit. We're hitting the ball with the hand, but we're not moving the hand. It's just a solid hand position that stays strong as I move the racket with my elbow joint. So when I'm talking about using your hand to hit a forehand volley, I want you to think about using the heel, the palm of your hand to hit it. You're not going to be engaging the fingers or using the wrist at any point. So if I'm using my wrist or my fingers, that translates to this. If I'm just using my palm, it translates to this. So you want to take the fingers out of it and the wrist out of it, but feel like you're using the hand to hit the shot. So when it comes to hitting backhand volleys, again, we don't want wrist, we don't want fingers, we don't want the shoulder to be moving too much. We want a lot of emphasis to be on the elbow, just straightening out there. But don't lock it, because you might get, you know, tennis elbow or something. Just feel like you can use the elbow joint to get the power. Obviously, you're going to take it back a little bit further sometimes. You're going to involve the shoulder, but it's not coming through from the shoulder. It's making sure that you use this elbow joint. That's going to allow you to get the effortless power, and almost like a karate chop where you have a lot of force there over a short period of time, short space. What we also need is a good break at the end of the shot. If your strings are slightly open, you've hit a little bit of slice on the ball, you can stop the racket with your hand. Your hand is in a position to prevent the racket from moving too much. If the racket squares up like this, it sort of becomes this like runaway train, because there's nothing behind the racket to support it. So anyone who hits flat like this has a real trouble holding the finish, and then they have to sort of hold on to the shoulder or just restrict their movements. So if you have an open racket face, continental grip with a strong break where the hand is supporting the racket, you can actually accelerate and start really knifing those volleys. It's kind of like when you buy a really good car that goes fast, it needs good brakes. And if you don't have good brakes, you can't really go that fast without it being dangerous, right? So make sure you've got this good break at the end of the shot where the hand is stable, and you're going to be able to accelerate into that volley and hit really crisp, you know, crisp backhand volleys. If you're still looking for some more advice, you're looking to hit those volleys a little bit cleaner, check out this video here. I give my favorite volley tip, something that I didn't mention in this video, but something I talk about all the time when I'm helping people, both on court and online. Check it out. I think it's really going to help you with your game, and I'll talk to you soon.